Welcome into the Stardom Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Steph McKinney, joined as always by Jacob Stevens and Ashton Mitchell. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. We hope that you and yours have a safe and fantastic Thanksgiving. It's going to be different this year from a lot of years in the past. Not going to be able to celebrate with quite as big of a family as we used to, but we're still thankful nonetheless. You guys have any big plans for Thanksgiving? What do you guys have going on?
Most of my normal Thanksgiving activities got canceled, but I am going to my wife's parents' house and pretty much just going to hunt all over the rest of Thanksgiving break and then celebrate my mom's 50th birthday. So,
oh, action-packed
stuff.
She's catching up to me. We normally go out to my dad's side of the family. They live out in the country, and it's usually a good time. All the family gets together and hangs out. But that is canceled for the first time in my entire life. So now I think we are just doing dinner with Rebecca's family and hanging out there at their house. So
nice.
keeping it local.
Nice. Well, at least we'll still have football. That has not been canceled on Thanksgiving. So something to look forward to.
Dude, the Ravens game, they've got 10 positive Rona tests.
Yeah.
5 players, 5 coaches.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. That should be a good one. That's the Thanksgiving night game, Ravens and Steelers. But look, guys, we got a lot to go through. Given that it is Thanksgiving week, we will only be doing one show this week, so we're going to go over all of the matchups today. We're going to do something a little fun. We're going to compare a couple players to our favorite Thanksgiving dishes, and see how they match up, and a little bit of news to go over. So let's start it off with the news.
News and notes.
Our show doc got deleted, so this is
that is the news.
This is the summarized version of the news that I remember. Joe Burrow has come to an end of his rookie season. It was a terrible looking injury, and according to the reports, he has tore his MCL and ACL, so he will be out for the year. Which is a big downgrade kind of for that whole offense, all those wide receivers, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, who are having a great year. You gotta downgrade them with that news for sure.
Yep.
Shame.
Very sad.
The same goes.
What's with FedEx and leg injuries, man?
Yeah, there seems to be a little curse going on there.
God.
The same goes for Rex Burkhead. He is out for this season as well. It's not quite as relevant. I don't know how many people are starting Rex Burkhead, but that should give you an upgrade to some of those other running backs. Sony Michel is back. Damian Harris has been good. And James White, he should get a little bump up as the receiving option.
A lot of receiving.
Yep. 2 running backs who are supposed to be designated from the IR this week, Raheem Mostert and Austin Eckler, should return to practice this week. No news on if they will actually play, but they should be designated back from the IR, which is positive news for those two. And then lastly, as Jacob was saying, there's a lot of big name players kind of getting designated to the COVID IR. We've seen this before where they'll get designated, and then as long as they have a positive test before game day, they should be good to go. So, but at least it's worth keeping an eye on these guys. J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram.
Those guys can't play.
Okay.
They don't have enough days. They don't have enough days. I think it's 5 days and 2 negative tests, or some like a consecutive. I think it's got to be 5 days. So I think they've already been ruled out, and that's why Gus Edwards has been considered
the guy,
the top waiver pickup. But at the same time, he's playing the Steelers.
Tough matchup. Yep. And another big name I saw, Adam Thielen, has been placed on the COVID IR as well. Was there any other guys that y'all saw recently?
I think he's the main one, but he will have a chance to play because his
Right.
game is on Sunday. So
Yep, 1
just
o'clock
keep
game.
your eyes peeled out there.
Yep.
Thielen's just catching everything. Sweet touchdown passes and COVID.
It was a
He's
decent
my,
catch.
Not
Not
the
as
start
good
of
as
the week last week.
not as good as CD's catch. So
Yeah, I mean, come on.
the
That's all-
Cowboys won a game. So I think that's something we need to bring up. That's definitely newsworthy.
Thank you.
The Cowboys won a game, and the Washington football team destroyed a guy's career. So
I think
just compare what you get.
two out of the 3 NFC East teams that played won their games, which surprised everybody. So,
Good stuff.
yeah. So I think that's all the news I have. I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanted to add in before we move over to our Thanksgiving segment.
Nope. Let's
No.
get thankful.
Let's keep going.
All right, let's get thankful. So we thought it'd be fun to think of our favorite Thanksgiving dishes and some of the guys who have lived up to those dishes in fantasy this year. Jacob, you want to start us off with the main dish, the big kahuna?
Yeah. I do.
All right, good.
Just somebody that's really brought the meat to the table.
Brought the meat.
Served fantasy points to thousands and billions of players across the world with
Right.
just elite production and the receiving game and the running game. Alvin Kamara, he is my turkey.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right, Ash, let's see what you got. You got any side dishes to add to that turkey? To add to the Alvin Kamara turkey?
I'm gonna go for kind of an overlooked side dish.
Okay.
It's not just really a dish. It's just a compliment to every meal.
Right.
But people kind of overlook it, and that's just the rolls, man. You get a good hearty roll in there.
All right.
They're just expected, but
really makes things pop. And they're consistent, and that's what I see with Antonio Gibson. Kind of an overlooked player this year. A lot of people doubted him with the lack of carries in college. But he actually leads the rookie running back class this year with touchdowns and is a top 10 running back right now. So I'm digging on AG, and I will continue to love him moving forward. And I'm very thankful for him.
Fair enough. Well, I'm gonna add a little bit of a healthiness to our dish. We're off to a carb and protein diet so far, but I'm gonna add the green beans in here. Everybody's parents always tell you eat your green beans. You grow up nice and strong, get some good muscles going, become a big grown individual. And that individual to me is DK Metcalf. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature, the Hulk, if you will. And he's been delivering a healthy serving of points to your fantasy lineups.
Yeah, he has.
You could have taken that green bean comparison and just brought in Rodrigo Blankenship because he basically is a green bean.
That's true.
You can look at it whichever way you want to look at it.
I wish I would have eaten my green beans so I could look like DK Metcalf. But anyways,
still got time, man.
I'll go ahead with my second one here. And this one, look, you see it on the table. You're like, what the hell is in there? I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna eat it anyway. Right. But I'm a little hesitant at first, okay? I'm starting to finish off things off my plate. Turkey's gone. Boom. My rolls are gone. My mashed potatoes are gone. I don't eat green beans. It's a problem, but it's whatever. And then I got jab into that stuffing, and it's Justin Herbert, baby. At the beginning of the year, we all thought Tyrod Taylor was going to be the starter. Someone punctured his lungs. Not cool. But Justin Herbert has been elite since I began to trust him. And I'm so thankful that Ashton...
This week that you started trusting him?
Huh?
So is that starting this week that you began to trust him?
No. I'm saying I'm so...
continue to start Lamar over him.
Whoa, dude, come on. Can we not talk about that? I started... Just stop it. Anyways, I wanted to say that I'm thankful for Ashton, actually, because he dropped Justin Herbert.
I saw that. We both ran to the waiver wire to get him.
And I beat you, remember?
Yeah, because you were at a worse record.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. But he is my stuffing. It didn't look so good at first, but man, is it delicious.
It's true.
I
It's
like
true.
that one. I'll do mine next, Ashton, so you can cap us off with the little right on top.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Easy, boy.
Throwing
Easy.
those lips. All right.
I'm gonna give us the sweetness to end your Thanksgiving dinner on. We're gonna get to the dessert here, the pumpkin pie, the staple dessert piece to everybody's Thanksgiving. And this guy's just been super sweet. He's been all the sugar you can get. Every game is fantastic, except for one. There's only been one.
Okay. Bad bite every now and again. Maybe some
Aaron
crust.
Rodgers has been sweet as can be. That's my pumpkin pie.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
It's good to know because I have a little addition to that.
Okay. What do you got?
Okay.
I'm going to go with Cool Whip.
Ooh.
Cool Whip. A little Cool
You know?
Whip for the pie.
It's not always available, but when you have it, man, does it amplify all the goodness that you apply it to.
Right.
I'm going to say Devontae Adams is the Cool Whip to your Aaron Rodgers here.
Oh, there it is.
I mean, let's just look at the numbers real quick. Yes, he missed a couple games due to injury.
Game here, game there, you know.
His first game against Minnesota, 34.6 points. He's had four games over 20 points just in the past 5 weeks.
That's pretty good.
I mean, and he is the number one wide receiver, fantasy wise. What I'm saying, say again.
And he missed 2 games.
And he missed 2 games. And he's had 2 games where he scored under 10 points. So he's a legend, and he makes everything better with that sweetness. The delicious Cool Whip, when it's available, you're gonna have it.
Good job, Devontae Adams. Proud of you, buddy. All right, guys. That's our Thanksgiving dinner. If you guys had a team full of all of our Thanksgiving dishes, you'd be quite the winner right now.
You'd be very thankful as well.
Yes, you'd be super thankful. But on to our matchups. We'll start with the Thanksgiving games. We got 3 of them this year. Let's start with the first one. The Lions are a staple to Thanksgiving Day games. So we got the Lions taking on the Texans. How do you guys feel about this matchup? The Lions were goosed last week, put up a whopping 0 points on the scoreboard. How do you feel about those options? Kenny Golladay missed practice today. We don't know if he'll be back. Matt Stafford's still banged up with a thumb injury. What do you guys think about that offense?
It's not ideal. I mean, it's just tough to rely on Stafford week in and week out, whether Kenny Galladay's in or not. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Matt Stafford as a person. I love his grittiness. I love his tenacity. He plays through injuries. He's had to play through injuries throughout his career. Unfortunately, he's just not in the best organization to push him forward to succeed. The Lions can be a little frustrating in the way Deshaun Watson's playing right now. I mean, he lit it up this week. I think the Texans have the upper hand here, but it's funny. I mean, Matt has a way of surprising us. So really kind of just depends on
which Matt shows up.
We
can bounce back definitely from a 20-0 routing. But for the Lions as a whole, DeAndre Swift should be back this week. He should clear concussion protocol.
That'll be huge.
I think you could start him, Marvin Jones, TJ Hawkinson. Feel pretty confident. I don't know if I'd start Matt Stafford. He could probably be a streaming option, but
yeah,
last week was not that great. Depends on how his health is leading up to it as well.
I'd keep an eye on his thumb. I mean, see how he's doing through practice this week.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been great. He's been very inconsistent all year. Someone who's usually a pretty good streaming option for you, but with the thumb injury, and because I mean, he's gonna play, which is the thing. Like, it's going to be confusing because he's going to play and you're going to be like, okay, he's good to go. But I mean, the guy plays through some crazy injuries, so I wouldn't just write that off as he's healthy.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit worried about everybody except for Swift and Hawkinson. Really, Hawkinson had a down game, but he's been great all year. I know Marvin Jones has had a good run with Galladay out, but I don't know if you can trust him with Matt Stafford's thumb. We don't know if Kenny Galladay is going to be back yet. Would you play Kenny Galladay if he's healthy?
I would. If against this defense, even if he's a little hobbled, I think he'd still be fine.
Yeah, I probably would as well. I'd do it. Still concerned with the whole situation and Stafford, but yeah, I think I'd still have to play him.
Okay.
The potential of a high ceiling there is just too big to kind of ignore.
Yeah. Let's move over to the Houston side. Deshaun Watson had the best game of his season so far. Over 30 points, I think was QB1 on the week. But Duke Johnson has been disappointing in David Johnson's absence. I mean, you look at what he's done over the 3 games, 41 rushing yards, 54 rushing yards, 15 rushing yards. And where he really is supposed to, be great in the receiving game, he's had 32 receiving yards. The next game he had 0 catches. And then last week he had 20 receiving yards. Like he has not been a good option. This is another great matchup. What do you do here?
Oh, I think you can start him. It doesn't feel good. Deshaun Watson, you're always going to have that problem because he is mobile and can get out of trouble and doesn't just dump it off to running backs. But I still think with the Lions defense that he could be a viable option this week, Dookie Johnson. But outside of that, I think Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller just plug and play, baby.
Duke's only averaging 2.8 yards per carry. Did you say that, Stefan? Did you mention that?
I just mentioned that he's been terrible on the ground and as a receiving option.
I just calculated that from the numbers he said. So
outside of the outside of the touchdown scored in week 9, like he's been terrible. If you take that one touchdown away, it's horrible.
Yeah, I think the option is there's a lot more chances that he'll get a touchdown in this game. I know last week was a pretty good matchup, but Texans, man.
Yeah. But it's concerning that the Texans were able to move the ball so well. Deshaun Watson had such a great game, but Duke Johnson, wasn't relevant even with that.
Yeah.
So it leads you to have some question marks. I think the other big question mark in this team is Jordan Akins. He had a nice game, 5 for 83 on 6 targets. Is he someone in the tight end streaming category for y'all?
Is Darren Fells still out? Or was he playing?
I think Darren Fells was playing. It was just, I think it was all Jordan Akins. Darren Fells had 2 for 29.
I heard a lot of good things about Akins in preseason mini camp and everything. But he hasn't really done much this year up to this point. He did have a great game. I don't know how I feel about it with Darren Fells still playing, but if you're desperate, I mean, it's the tight end, so who really cares,
Sure.
Tight ends are such a crapshoot right now. It's just hard to say.
On the crap.
Yeah.
Outside of those main guys, I mean, you can kind of really throw out whichever one's your favorite matchup and probably do okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the next matchup, the main event. The Cowboys taking on the Washington football team. This is near and dear to our hearts here on the Stardom Fantasy Football Podcast.
Yes.
Got 2 Cowboys fans and 1 football team fan.
You guys probably already know who it is just from listening to us.
We'll start it off on the Washington side, Ashton. We'll let you plead your case. You're a big fan of Alex Smith last week, and didn't work out for you. But what about this matchup? Dallas has been a very favorable matchup for quarterbacks. Do you think Alex Smith can be relevant? Do you think he can be a streaming option?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'm glad he, found the end zone again. It's just
it was a rain game too, so it wasn't pretty out there.
It wasn't a great weather game. I don't know. I mean, Dallas looked a lot better this past week than they have basically since Zeke I mean, since Dak went out.
Thank you.
I mean, but to my credit, I did say if this was a bounce back game for Dallas and Zeke, that it would be week 11. So I'm glad to see Zeke.
You hated on Zeke.
I do. I mean, I'm still
Oh,
concerned.
whoa! I said you hated on him last week.
I'm
You
still
told me all those
concerned
garbage
about
players
Zeke.
you take over him.
I'm still concerned about Zeke. I mean, I'm concerned about the whole NFC East. It's a
Yeah, everyone is, dude.
I'd like to propose a bet to you, Ashton.
uh-huh.
A nice friendly Thanksgiving bet. You're currently down 3 orders of wings, so I'm gonna be gracious on this Thanksgiving week, and I will offer you to get back all 3 of your wing orders. Get back to even Stevens.
Okay.
In exchange for if I win. I mean, I don't want to just keep adding wings because I'm never going to eat 4 orders of wings.
You don't have to do it all at once.
I understand, but I mean that's going to take some time to cash out on. Instead, I want you to show up to the next show with a cool hairstyle. I want you to do your hair in a way that is goofy or fun. On top of the 3 orders of wings that I already have.
Do I have to cut my hair or do I just style it?
You style it as it is. I don't want you to go to the barber and mess
let
it all up.
me add on top of this that maybe he should be wearing some sort of Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
definitely not happening.
I'll lend you a Cowboys jersey as well.
I'll lend it. You won't get it back.
My bet offer though is straight up Andy Dalton v. Alex Smith. Whoever scores more wins.
I mean, dude, Alex Smith just scored 8 points.
Yeah, but the Cowboys matchup is one of the juiciest outside of Atlanta and Seattle.
That's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, you perform.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I want to take that bet. I mean, I'll do it for the sake of, pride and me loving, Washington. But man, is it a love-hate?
Look at Andy Dalton's
right
games, man. Like his first start had 11 points. His second start had 2 points. And then last week at 18, man.
That was when he got his head knocked off by the dirty Washington football team.
If this was at FedEx, I definitely would take it because there's a good chance that Andy Dalton
tears his ACL,
a leg injury. But
that's terrible, terrible.
I mean, it's just science, man. It's just the numbers.
All right, so you're in on the bet.
Sure,
I'll make it easier for you. I'll make it better for you.
Yeah.
I'll do Zeke versus your bread rolls, your Antonio Gibson.
Who scores more, or who
puts up more points?
Just more fantasy points.
ESPN half point scoring.
If they weren't stupidly just looking at,
come on, man, don't make excuses.
Just
say yes.
Sure, fine, whatever. I'll do it.
Which one do you want? You want the running back one or the QB one?
I mean, the QB one's probably more fair, but I'll do either one. Let's just do both.
Oh, dude. What if it's split?
What is it, a parlay?
Let's do a parlay. Jacob, get in here.
Which one do you prefer? Pick one.
I mean, I prefer Antonio Gibson.
Okay, we'll go Gibson v. Zeke. Here, deal.
And
Cowboys jersey. My defense shows.
Cowboys
jersey, please don't forget that.
You can give me a Cowboys jersey.
Okay, no Cowboys jersey. I don't want.
Come on.
I don't want to risk losing it. Instead, you have to have a Zoom Cowboys background the whole next show.
There we go. Perfect.
It's Tyler Gross, but whatever.
Come on.
Dude. I'll do a Redskins one on top of taking away all your wings.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. So let's actually talk about some of the options here outside of Alex Smith. Let's talk about the ones you actually like. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas. How do you feel about those guys this week?
They're all good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I would start all 3 if you have them. It's a great matchup against Dallas, even though Dallas has Dallas had a good game this week. They had a great game against Pittsburgh. But this is still Dallas. It's still the NFC East. Anyone's game right now. And Redskins are coming off of a win. Dallas is coming off a win. I expect it to be a good game, Thanksgiving game, good tradition. But hopefully Alex Smith plays smart and our offensive line protects him and we can get the ball out. I think he's going to pass a lot.
Any interest in J.D. McKissick this week?
I mean, I'm sure they're going to use him. I don't think I would want to start him. I mean, if I had to choose McKissick over Gibson, I think I'd be making the wrong choice there. I would still lean Gibson.
Yeah, I think your big thing is game script, and that's when J.D. McKissick comes into play is when they're down. So I would say, yeah, J.D. McKissick would probably be a great option here because the football team is going to be down the whole time. So,
Interesting.
but I would say he's like a deep flex consideration.
All right, let's move over to the Cowboys side of the ball. We'll start with Andy Dalton. Is he in the flex consideration after last week's game or
No.
no? All right. Are we back on to having faith in Zeke?
I've always had faith. Can't be back on if I've never lost it. Thank you.
First game of the season, 100+ yards rushing. Found the end zone in the receiving game. Put up 18.4 points in half-point scoring. Is that kind of what you expect moving forward, or do you expect, what we saw before to be more of the norm?
This is a tough matchup, but I do think he's going to get a touchdown. I don't think he's going to have as many yards this game against a tough football team, a tough Washington front. So I think he's still going to be a running back or an RB1 this week.
Okay.
I can see his. He's struggled a lot in the passing game this year. He's only had 2 games, I think, where he's had more than 7 receptions. Yeah, game 4 against Cleveland, and then week 6 against Arizona. I mean, I think if they can get him the ball in the passing game more, I think he has a better chance of succeeding. He's got a tough match against Washington's defensive front here.
Yeah, they did balance out pretty good last week with I think it was 33 passing plays and 31 running plays. So that was nice to see. But
yeah, their game calling was
they
awesome
definitely
last week.
And they moved Zach Martin over, so that was pretty fun. But anyways, I would say Amari Cooper, and are you guys back in on CeeDee Lamb as well?
Yeah, I think I actually have more faith in CeeDee Lamb than I do Amari Cooper at this point. Amari Cooper's been pretty consistent.
Great with Dalton, though, I think.
Yeah, I just think the way that they CeeDee Lamb just is such a playmaker. It seems like he's getting it done with what's his face, Garrett Gilbert, and he got it done with Andy Dalton. So I have faith that they'll make some sort of plays for CeeDee Lamb to get him involved, get him in a scoring opportunity. So, but I'm not starting Gallup. I don't have too much faith in Dalton Schultz. I know he got in the end zone, but outside of that, it didn't seem like he was too involved down the field.
4 receptions, for 25 yards. It was kind of some dump off stuff.
Yep. Let's move on to the next one, the Thanksgiving night game. The Ravens taking on the Steelers. We talked about the Ravens have some COVID concerns. We know that the 2 running backs of Ingram and J.K. Dobbins will be out, which is disappointing because Dobbins looked like he was starting to catch on there. But we've seen some good games out of Gus Edwards. Are you interested in flexing Gus Edwards this week, knowing that he's going to have that backfield to himself in this tough matchup?
I like Gus Edwards, but
I don't like him that much.
I don't like the matchup. No, so
I think if you're desperate and but you're going to know he's going to get the touches. It might not be pretty, but I think he's an option.
This matchup took place back in week 8 as well, where we saw Gus Edwards being the main beneficiary. He went 16 for 87 and a touchdown. He got it done before. We know he's going to have the entirety of the backfield.
Justice Hill, man, don't forget about him.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Justice Hill. I think he's a decent flex option this week. Would you start him over Dookie Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to know the category you guys kind of put him in. How do you feel about Lamar and Mark Andrews this week?
Don't love it. Love it. Lamar had 4 turnovers last time they played.
Yeah, but they're on a better streak right now.
Who?
Huh?
Who's on a better streak?
Mark Andrews and Lamar.
Oh, I'm talking about Lamar, man. I wouldn't play Lamar. I'm not going to. He's got a safe floor of about 14 points. So if that's what you want, that's probably what you're going to get this week. I think you have to start Andrews. I agree. They have been connecting a bit better. And now that Dez Bryant throwing up the X like a stud is making He's making some plays, maybe open things up. But Marquise Brown, what a disappointment.
Yeah, no, I'm out. I'm out on Brown. I don't think you can play him with any confidence. And honestly, I'm sitting Mark Andrews this week.
He's dealing with a thigh injury too.
With Mark, I think this matchup, we know from the last time they played, they just want to involve Lamar Jackson more as a rusher against Pittsburgh, knowing that secondary is so strong, and they have a great pass rush. So if that pocket collapses, I think Lamar is just going to have to make some plays with his feet, and I just expect Mark Andrews just to be locked down the whole game. He was disappointing in their first matchup, 3 for 32. So I think Lamar Jackson, even though he's not going to have a great day in the air, I think he can be played, just knowing that he'll get it done on the ground. And you can't expect 4 turnovers this game, you know?
You hope not.
Yeah.
The Steelers are expecting it.
Right. Hopefully we're not. All right, let's move over to the Pittsburgh side. We'll start with Big Ben. Are you playing Ben in this matchup? We've seen him be great. We've seen him be kind of mediocre. What do you expect out of this game?
His numbers weren't great against Baltimore in Week 8. He didn't have a great game against Jacksonville, where I think we thought he would have a better chance of succeeding as well. I mean, if I have other options, I might look elsewhere against this matchup.
Yeah, I would try to pivot as well.
Okay. How do you feel about James Conner at this point? I mean, we've been calling for him to have great games, and I mean, he's been like underperforming based on your expectations.
Let's go back to last week, and I think it also has to do with Big Ben. They were up 20-0 at the half. They got Benny Snell involved. Anthony McFarland got a few touches, and Benny Snell just so happened to get one of the touchdowns. He did look better. He had 13 rushes for 89 yards, almost 7 yards per carry. So that was nice to see, but it's not going to be that nice against the Ravens, I don't think. I think he does have the chance to get into the end zone just because the Steelers' offense is just moving on everybody. But you don't have a lot of confidence. I think that's kind of what it is. And Big Ben has the options to throw to Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and Juju. So it's hard to not throw to them when they're out there.
Yeah, I know you talked about Benny Snell a little bit. It seems like a trend at this point, though. If you watch the Steelers games, when they get within inside the 5-yard line, it seems like Benny Snell is their first option as a chance to get in the end zone first. And if he doesn't make it in, maybe they get James Conner in there. But it seems like as soon as they get around the goal line, Benny Snell is their guy. They have more faith in him finding the end zone, which is concerning because if you take away his scoring opportunities close to the goal line, and then you have all those 3 big wide receivers that can score as well, James Conner, you got to, I think, put your expectations that he's not going to win you a week, but maybe he can give you, 10,
RB2 numbers.
Yeah.
He did have 3 catches though. And just to throw that on there, that none of the other running backs have made any catches. Or is Ray McLeod is he a running back? I don't know.
He's
but like anyways, do you think this is just a quick note. Do you think that they don't put him in around the goal line like to preserve his body? Would that make sense? Around those jumbo packages where he's just like running into, you know what I'm saying, like between the 20s and stuff?
No, I think they look
he
at
is the glass man
as more explosive and, I think
but he's a smaller back, isn't he?
Well, that's probably why they use him too.
Yeah, I mean, you think they jam the line with all those big guys if you can find a little bit of a hole. I mean, I don't know the reasoning, and Mike Tomlin makes the decision for some reason.
I thought you were supposed to do that. We asked you to do that for the show.
Let's look at the wide receivers, though. Juju apparently stepped on a penalty flag and turned his ankle on his birthday.
That was targeted flagging.
Very odd, but that was the injury. Deontay Johnson, I mean, the dude is good. He's good at football. It seems like when he's healthy, he's their main target. I know they get Chase Claypool involved because he's a big play guy. But you look at the targets for Deontay Johnson over the last 5 weeks, 16, 11, 10. He had 3 against Baltimore, which is the matchup we're talking about, and he had 15 against Tennessee. So double-digit targets in 4 out of the last 5 games. I would expect, I mean, from my point of view, I think Deontay Johnson is the clear one in this
Yeah.
offense, but any three of these guys can put up points. It's going to depend on the week. We'll see what the Ravens defense does against these three guys. But how do you feel about these three going into this week?
I'm still starting them. I mean,
I think Juju's at the back end of it, and the
Yeah.
injury's gonna.
how do you think about? I mean, yeah, Deontay Johnson, I think, is their primary target moving up the field, and I think once they get in the end zone or in the red zone, I think they look a little bit more towards Claypool. For some reason, he just seems to get more looks towards the red zone.
Big guy.
How do you feel about Eric Ebron this matchup?
I think Eric Ebron's viable. He scored in this matchup earlier in the year, 4 for 48 and a touchdown. And he's been pretty good 4 out of the last 5 weeks. So really 4 out of the
3 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a viable starter.
That's pretty productive for a tight end. You don't want to see him be tight end. I mean, touchdown dependent, but most of them are. So,
yeah,
on a great offense, I think you could definitely roll him out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, ride the wave. This is kind of like that Jimmy Graham situation we saw earlier in the year where he was just scoring. Might as well play him. Let's move over to the next matchup. We got the first Sunday night matchup. So, the Sunday matchups. So these are all the Thanksgiving games we're going over. Here's the Sunday matchups. Chargers taking on the Bills. I expect this to be a high-scoring game. These are two offenses that have been moving. This should be some good fantasy points going around. We'll start with Justin Herbert. As we said, I mean, he's been phenomenal. He earned
even
himself
with the haircut.
He earned himself a Thanksgiving dish named after him. So you continue to throw him out there and have confidence he's going to produce for you. Let's talk about the running back situation. We're not sure as of yet if Austin Eckler is going to play. ESPN hasn't projected many points, so they're not expecting him to play at this point. Or if that's the case, that's what it's looking like moving through the rest of this week. What's your confidence level in Kalen Balazs?
Fire him up. I'm not super confident. He kind of came back to earth a little bit this past week, but the Bills' run defense hasn't been great, right? Does that sound right?
Sounds about right.
I think their pass defense has been a little bit better, but I'd start him here for sure. If he's gonna get all those touches.
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting the volume, 15 plus carries, which is where around the area we expected him to get the touches there. So I mean, as long as he stays on that pace, I'd still consider him a starter.
Yeah, and double-digit points in every start so far the last 3 weeks. I think you throw him out there if Eckler doesn't play. If Eckler plays, no Balazs.
Yeah, sayonara.
Yeah, but I think if Eckler plays, you throw him right back in. He's too involved in this offense to not play him. Let's get to the wide receivers. Keenan Allen is living up to all the hype he was putting on Twitter.
All his tweets.
Jesus Christ, man. 19 targets last week. 16 for 145 and a touchdown. He's just open. He's just never not open.
That bullet from Herbert towards the left. What was that? I don't remember what.
In the end zone, right?
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
touchdown.
I mean, and he's sitting there rocking the ball like a baby, dude.
Guy's good.
They're a scary duo right there.
I think he might have had some truth to those tweets about all the wide receivers he's better than, and the disrespect that was going around. So Keenan Allen, I mean, he's got to be moving forward. He's got to be considered a top 5 wide receiver the rest of the year because I mean, the targets he's getting, the yardage he's getting, the touchdowns, everything's just going his way.
I agree.
But what about Mike Williams? He had a nice game as well, 4 for 72 and a touchdown. He's double-digit points in 3 out of the last 4 weeks.
Gets on my nerves.
We say it every week. He's a boomer bust guy. He's giving you a 25-point game, an 18-point game, a 15-point game.
What did he do this past week?
He got
4
15.
for 72 and 1.
Yeah, he got 15 points.
Did he?
Yep.
What game am I looking at?
He had a first quarter touchdown.
He had a horrible game against Miami, but he had a good game this week against the Jets. I mean, with the way Herbert's playing, how much they're passing the ball, you're going to start Mike Williams.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
I think I have more trust in Mike Williams than the guys in Cincinnati now without Joe Burrow. I think
100%.
Yeah, you're starting Mike Williams over Higgins and Boyd.
Those
that hurts
T. Higgins,
to say.
Yeah, those guys are now downgraded to wide receiver 4s.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they're risky
Let's
plays now.
see it before you drop them, though. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
don't
be
drop
dropping
'em.
these guys. Just
But let's just see what happens.
you got to see what happens. I hope I was thinking about. I was like, dude, maybe they should sign Colin Kaepernick. I think that'd be an interesting. I mean, Ryan Finley is so bad at football.
He's
So
not Nathan
bad.
Peterman, but he's bad.
He's getting there. He's working his way down.
All right. What about Hunter Henry? Touchdowns in back-to-back games. He could have had 2 touchdowns last week. Just Justin Herbert just missed him. But still, 4 for 48 and a touchdown, 4 for 30 and a touchdown the week before. He's a red zone threat. Is he someone that you're rolling out with confidence as well?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I'd
This
still
tight end
start him.
landscape. For
I mean,
sure.
he got seven targets this past week. He only caught 4 of them for 48 yards and a touchdown. But I mean, yeah, he's still getting the looks. Herbert still likes him as a target, so keep him moving forward.
Yep. All right, let's move over to the Buffalo side of the ball. I think Josh Allen is a smash play as well this week. This should be a boom week for Josh Allen. Last week, 26 points. The week before, 36 points. It looks like we're back on the early season form of Josh Allen. Is that kind of what you guys are expecting? He's coming off a bye week.
Yeah, I'm actually deciding in our Dynasty League if I want to start Justin Herbert or Josh Allen. And
I think they're both great plays.
I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, I think you're fine either way there. But what about some of these other options at the running back position? Are you interested in Zach Moss or Devin Singletary? Good matchup here. Do you expect one of them to be relevant?
Moss over Singletary.
Yeah, just the touchdown upside.
Yep.
I'm not going anywhere near Singletary.
I agree.
Well, the problem is Singletary's good in pass protection, so they keep him on the field and he gets into some more plays. But at
That
this
doesn't bring us
point,
the points though.
no, I know. I'm just saying about being on the field and having playing time. But yeah, it's not. I wish they would just. They're trying. That Sean McDermott came out and said that they're trying to get the running game going because they're putting too much on Josh Allen in those tougher matchups and putting a lot of pressure on him, and they don't want to do that anymore. Basically, they want to get the running game going. So there could be an uptick here coming soon. I don't know which way it's going to go, but Zach Moss still has the touchdown upside.
Well, they better get on that.
What about the 3 wide receivers here? Stephon Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley. I think we'll write off Stephon Diggs. He's in everybody's lineup.
Yeah.
John Brown and Cole Beasley. They had a bye. John Brown did have an ankle injury back in week 10 against Arizona. Was having a good game before at 6 for 72. But Cole Beasley was also coming off a monster game in that one, 11 for 109 and 1. If John Brown doesn't play, he's questionable as of right now. If John Brown doesn't play, I think Cole Beasley should be in everybody's lineup as a wide receiver too.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, Allen loves throwing them the ball. I mean, if he's open and he's definitely underrated as a wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, the man is. Did you see him go against Patrick Peterson? The cut that he put on Patrick Peterson.
He runs good routes, man. He's quick.
Oh my gosh, he's a great route runner.
I mean, he came from the Cowboys, so he's good.
Yeah, we're good teachers down there.
Well, he left the Cowboys and he's gotten even better.
We're not going to
so.
pay him crazy money to be there. We got CeeDee Lamb now, man. All right. But if John Brown does play, where are you guys at with John Brown and Cole Beasley? Do you favor
John
one
Brown
over the other? Do you
plays,
think
I
they're
don't-
similar?
If John Brown plays, I don't want to play Beasley.
Do you want to play John Brown?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a little bit more favored towards John Brown. What about you?
I mean, if you look at the 2 games that Brown was back, Beasley had 3.4 and 5.4.
I might go opposite against Jacob here against this matchup. I'll do a little friendly bet.
all right,
If they're both
on the
active,
board.
they're both active and
Right.
playing.
Obviously,
John Brown will outscore Cole Beasley.
If I win, you cover my wing orders for Stephen.
Jesus.
I'll cover 1.
All right, cool.
If not,
What is-
you owe me those wings. So
Oh no,
that's
Ash, you're gonna be so behind on wings, man.
Y'all are eating chicken for a long time.
what you want to do. You want to do Starbucks instead? A little Starbucks.
I don't care. I'm indifferent.
You don't like Starbucks.
What it is, so I can write it down here, guys. Come on.
Starbucks. Just do Starbucks. So
All right.
I would prefer Starbucks when
Buc-ee's.
I win this. Thank you.
All right. Sorry.
Has to be active. He
Well,
cannot
obviously.
not be playing. Okay, Ashton. So don't you try to pull that on me.
That's fine. If John Brown's not active, then I just automatically win.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. We'll start on the
Owie.
Titans side of the ball. What are your expectations? This is a tough matchup against this Colts defense.
Didn't this game just happen 2 weeks ago on a Thursday?
Yeah, week 10.
Yeah, it was recent. It was recent for sure. Where are you guys at? Are you kind of using that as a gauge to what to expect this week? Or are you writing that game off? Because a lot of these Titans players underperformed in that matchup. How do you guys feel about the second matchup of this?
I think Tannehill will have a better game this week than he did week 10. I still don't think he'll go crazy. I think they're going to need to rely heavily on the beast known as Derrick Henry. But I think he'll still have a better performance than he did a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I'd start on possibly a streamer if needed, but he should perform better than he did before.
Yeah, I don't think it's really fair that they're doing this to the Titans. I don't know who scheduled these games, but yeah, I'm not super interested in Tannehill. I think you're starting AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, no questions
A.J. Brown
asked. And I think Corey Davis is. I think he's still a viable option, man. He's been legit. He's also another underrated wide receiver out there.
This was the worst game of the year for A.J. Brown. His 2-point game, 1 reception for 21 yards back 2 weeks ago.
It's a revenge game.
Corey Davis, on the other hand, just consistent, 5 for 67, put up 9 points in half point. Do you have more faith in A.J. Brown in this matchup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that one play last week where he called the ball like the 8-yard line and just
dragged
through people. I mean,
I saw Mike Evans do that on Monday night.
Yeah. DK Metcalf gave him some props to his former teammate. How do you feel about Jonu in this game?
And the touchdown man.
Yeah, I'm starting him. He's been doing well.
Okay. All right, let's move over to the other side of the ball here. On the Colts side, do we believe in Michael Pittman at this point? We told everybody not to play him last week in that tough matchup, and he came through. Where do you guys stand with Michael Pittman?
I'm in. This is a good matchup, so we're back to him.
Okay.
There's no other receiving options that I really care for. The tight end room is so weird. Jack Doyle, what did he catch it? Jack Doyle caught a touchdown this past week. Is that right?
Trey Burton and Jack Doyle caught touchdowns.
So annoying. Could you start both if you wanted? If you had one or the other, would you start them?
Trey Burton.
Trey Burton's preferred. What were the targets like? I don't.
Jack Doyle catches 1 or 2 passes every time he catches the ball. That's it.
How much did Trey Boo Boo catch?
He caught 3 or 2.
3.
He had 5 targets though.
Boom.
Like the targets go more his way.
face.
You have the rushing option of Trey Burton. Just a little bit more upside. What about these running backs though? Everybody
Don't even ask.
Everybody wrote off Jonathan Taylor, and he got the work last week. 22 for 90, and then 4 for 24 in the air. What do we do? Like, who is the preferred running back? Nyheim Hines disappeared. Had 6 rushes for 2 yards.
Not enough.
Not the average you're looking for. Average 0.3 yards a carry. Decent little game. 3 for 31 as a receiving option. He's a great receiving back. What do you do with those 2 guys?
I mean, I'm starting Jonathan Taylor. This is a pretty good matchup. I hate what they're doing to us. I don't think it's nice. It's definitely confusing. I don't know how I feel about Nyheim Hines. What do you think, Ashton?
I mean,
this was the monster game for Hines 2 weeks ago.
So you think he's in? Okay, so he could do it again.
I mean, look, you can't just rely on what they've done before in the last matchup. This could be a completely different matchup for all we know. But this was his best game of the year against Tennessee back in week 10. I don't know if that means anything to you, but
I'll just go by over the past 4 weeks. It seems Hines has a good game every other week. So this is his up week.
Is this the every other?
This is the every other. So
okay,
week 8, he had
no questions asked.
week game, he had a big game against Detroit, bad game against Baltimore, big game against Tennessee, bad game against Green Bay. So now we're back up again with
here
Tennessee.
we are. Welcome
So
back.
I'll start Hines.
Any interest in Wild Phil? You playing Phillip Rivers as a streamer this week?
He's been playing well, man. I mean, I'm not a huge
I think
Phillip
you
Rivers.
can.
fan.
I think you definitely can.
He's been handling the ball well. Yeah, I'd consider him a good streamer.
I know he's a little banged up. He's got a hurt toe, so just watch out for that toe.
Just the one.
All right, we're slacking a little bit behind here. We got 11 more matchups to go through, so we'll try to hum through these real quick. Let's talk about Carolina taking on Minnesota. Are we expecting Teddy Bridgewater back for this game? PJ Walker filled in pretty nicely, except for when he got in the red zone. He decided to throw to the other team.
Yeah, those were bad picks too.
Yeah,
but other than that, he had a pretty good day.
He looked good if he fixed those issues.
Yeah, Matt Rule's saying that Bridgewater is expected to practice Wednesday, so just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, they'll probably let him practice and see how it goes after that, how he responds, how his knee responds. But they do have a bye next week, if I remember correctly. So it could be if they saw PJ Walker be able to handle himself, there's a chance that they might just let him get all the way healthy. But either way, I wouldn't start PJ Walker, but I think what we saw that you might be able to.
But I guess the question is, I don't think there's really that considerable of a difference to the wide receivers.
No, there wasn't.
Whether it goes PJ Walker or Teddy Bridgewater. I think that, you don't downgrade a wide receiver based on PJ Walker starting, do you? I think you kind of upgrade.
No, he airs
PJ
it out,
Moore.
man. Yeah,
I think
he's airing
PJ
it out.
Moore is upgraded with PJ Walker, whereas I think maybe you give the edge to Robbie Anderson with Teddy Bridgewater. So
Robbie Anderson's been slacking. Have you guys noticed that? He's
Curtis
had one
Samuel's-
touchdown this year, and it was in the first week of the season.
He was my sit of the week the other week.
Curtis Samuel has been super relevant, man. He's just getting involved in this offense. I think he needs to be started in everybody's lineup. It's a good matchup.
Yeah.
But the running back situation, Matt Rule has said Christian McCaffrey is week to week at this point. Are you guys expecting him to play, or do you think it's another week of Mike Davis?
I think it's another week of Mike Davis, man. Mike Davis definitely looked a little bit better than he had been this past week. I think he was the top 10 running back on the week. It wasn't a great week for running backs, but obviously he's in, you're playing him. McCaffrey's back, you're playing him. I mean, there's no questions asked on that. But yeah, I think that's all on the Panthers side.
All right, let's go to Minnesota. Kirk Cousins looked great against Dallas outside of the last drive where they went 3 and out. But in terms of efficiency, 73% completion rate, 314 yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked good as an NFL quarterback. I mean, 22 points in fantasy isn't going to blow your mind, but for Kirk Cousins, that's a good game. Are you any interest in starting Kirk Cousins as a streamer this week?
Yes, against Carolina, I think he would be a decent streamer.
Okay. Dalvin Cook is in everybody's lineup. If you're someone who starts him, who doesn't start him, there's questions around you. Adam Thielen, it says he is actually ruled out already on ESPN. I don't know if that's an error.
No, that's nonsense.
I don't know if that's an error or not, but I think, like we said earlier, he is on the COVID list, but he does have the ability to still play in this game. What's y'all's thoughts on Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson?
Start them both.
Play him, baby. Panthers have been kind of stingy in general, but I'm not worried about these two guys. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's looked good these last 2 weeks. Has that big playability. I think he needs to be in people's lineups. Let's move on to the next matchup. Cleveland Browns taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll start with Cleveland. This is a good matchup for Baker Mayfield, but I'm assuming there's no way that you could possibly stream Baker Mayfield.
That is the correct answer.
Outside of one game, he has yet to go over 15 points. So I think you need to sit him. I mean, don't have any.
I will say they have had so many bad weather games. It has been like outrageous.
Well, this one's in Jacksonville, so maybe you get a little bit better weather than they do in Cleveland.
But I still wouldn't do it even with better weather. I guess you got Nick Chubb, Avi. He looked great. Kareem Hunt, decent. He's okay. Ashton, I know you're like all into him.
13 rushes for 11 yards, not great, but hey, he scores touchdowns.
Exactly.
Can't talk to you guys right now.
I don't think Austin Hooper, like I said last week, you guys didn't listen to me. was the only receiving option that you could really be excited about.
I'll give you one
You
thing.
want to talk about him last week, remember?
It's true.
Give you one thing to hang your hat on, Ashton. Kareem Hunt had a better rushing average last week than Naheem Hines.
Hell.
0.8 compared to 0.3.
Look out.
Yep. Thank you. I'll sleep much better now.
Thank you. Outside of those two guys, do you have faith in Austin Hooper this week?
Always, baby.
He was 3 for 33 last week, bud.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're interested in.
It is.
1 for 11 the week before. Is that better for you?
We know where his standards are.
No, I'm out on Austin Hooper. I don't believe in Austin Hooper. You can believe all you want, but he's not someone I believe in. On the Jacksonville side, though, I think we've now learned that gluten free is not very good at football. I don't think he's someone that you're interested in. Do you think this opens up the possibility that Gardner Minshew actually comes back at some point this year as the starting quarterback?
If he's healthy, I think they're going to have to put him in after Jay Gluten Free was just not doing it. That was real ugly. I think Minshew's going to be back.
What's Jack's record right now?
Not good. 3-7.
I don't know.
Maybe?
I can see them writing it out with Luton regardless.
1-9.
He has been 1-9.
They won the first game. They upset the Colts.
The Colts, I remember that. Yeah.
And then in nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Luton has been.
He played the Steelers. You're not expecting much.
It's terrible against Green Bay.
This is a better matchup. DJ Chark might be in play. I know Ashton loves Keelan Cole.
Do you like Cole?
I'm out on everybody not named James Robinson. I think on this Jaguars offense until I could see some signs of life from Luton Free.
Brown's defense is nothing to sleep on either.
Their secondary is kind of
Miles Garrett's out, and Denzel
Miles
Ward's
Garrett's
out.
Never mind then. Maybe it's a good matchup.
Yeah, the two best
Might
players
be okay.
Maybe
I
Luton
retract
Free-
my statement.
Maybe Jake Luton doesn't get sacked 10 times. All right.
Just a good 7.
You guys have faith in James Robinson still?
Always and forever.
Yeah, you're still starting him.
Yeah, he's fantastic. All right. Giants v. Bengals. We'll start with the Giants side of the ball. How do you feel about these options? Any interest in Daniel Jones as a streamer?
Against the Bengals, this could be a great matchup for Daniel Jones. Maybe get to see him bust out another 80-yard run and fall right before the end zone.
He's been surprising this year on his feet, man.
He's
He's not
fast.
falling. Yeah.
He's fast until he falls. I totally agree.
God, I feel so bad for that one play. It was
So bad for him,
horrific.
so good for America.
But yeah, I like the matchup. Bengals really struggle against the pass defense. Slayton and Shepard set to play. They're all both healthy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I like the Giants in this matchup.
You would start both those wide receivers?
I mean, they're not my top options, but I mean, if you have them and you need them, yeah, I think they're startable. Yeah.
Flex options.
Oh, Wayne
What,
Gallman.
I'm all in on Wayne Gallman. The Gallman.
I like Gallman.
5 touchdowns over his last 4 games. The 4 games where he started, he's got multiple. He's got 10 plus carries in every game. 5 touchdowns. He hasn't been super efficient in terms of yardage, but finds the end zone.
We don't care about that.
We just care that you get in the end zone. Yeah. What about Evan
I mean,
Ingram?
Ashton likes Cream Hunt, so yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Freaking awesome running back.
What about Evan Ingram? He's
good.
Okay.
I'll allow him in.
We'll allow it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the Cincinnati side of the ball. What do you expect with Finley instead of Joe Burrow?
Sadness.
Is there anybody on
Trash.
this team you're interested in?
Hot garbage, if you will.
No, I think I have to take a step back until I see, I can't confidently start the players that you are normally starting. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I'm not going to start them in this matchup.
It's tough, man, to leave those guys hanging, but I am benching T. Higgins myself this week and Tyler Boyd where I can. It doesn't feel good because they've been so good, and you got to feel. I mean, I don't know. You think the Giants are going to go up on a big league? They're just going to be airing it out anyway, or is the airing out not even good enough for fantasy relevance? That's the question.
It's still the Giants. Like, do you really expect them to get up to a big lead? I mean, this is going to
Yes.
be a terrible Cincinnati offense with Finley. That's what you expect. But the Giants are still the Giants. Like, they're not a good NFL team. So I don't think they're going to get up to like, a 3-touchdown lead. No, here comes Ryan Finley having to air it out.
I think it would only make sense to add the confusion of the Giants dominating Cincinnati to the NFC East. Wild race for division lead.
I mean, they put up 27 points against the Eagles 2 weeks ago.
Who's also not a good football team.
They have a decent
I'm taking the Giants in this matchup.
run defense, but yeah.
What about Gio? Is he someone that you're considering? He's been disappointing the last 2 weeks, but the games before that, he was great, 21 points and 18 points. So where do you stand with Gio? Do you write off the Pittsburgh and the Washington game as flukes, or do you think that's more
they're
what
tough
to expect?
matchups, so you hope that's what the case is. It's just you wonder how this game script's going to go for him. I mean, I think you can start him as a flex player just because he's going to get all the touches mainly, but
I think they're going to be playing from. Yeah, I think they're going to be playing from behind. I think they're going to be forced to pass the ball a lot more. So I'm not riding on Gio this week.
Yeah, the other piece of news that we didn't get to: Joe Mixon was placed on the IR, so he will miss the next 2 games because they put him on before, or at least the next 2 games. So they put him on before last week's game took place. So that counts as one of the 3 weeks. So he's out until at least week 14? He missed Washington, Giants. So this is the first game he could come back is week 14, which should be the start of most people's playoffs. Right.
If he's going to be here for the rest of the season, which is terrible.
Yeah, so I think with that news, Gio is owned in 90% of leagues, but if he's not owned in your league, he probably should be rostered just with the idea that, Gio might be the starter for every game moving forward, and Mixon might miss the rest of the season. No clarity on that yet, but I think you can play Gio in this matchup.
Yeah.
All right, next one we got is Arizona taking on New England. We had a weird kind of situation with Kyler Murray last week where his shoulder got banged up, but they do
first quarter.
Right. They are expecting him to be recovering. It was an AC joint injury, but they expect him to be recovering well. He still put up 20 points. I mean, it wasn't quite the level that he was performing before with 37 and 29. But still,
he didn't do anything on the ground that game either.
Right. I think
to protect the shoulder.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit worried about getting hit. But it was a disappointing game for DeAndre Hopkins as a result of it. Where do you guys? I mean, I would expect him to be healthy at this point. I don't think that you're, worried about DeAndre Hopkins or Kyler Murray, are you?
Nope.
No, I'm still pushing forward on them.
Yeah, I mean, Watson just lit up New England. I think Kyler Murray is pretty similar to Deshaun Watson's play style. They both like to get the ball down the field. Both have the rushing ability. I think he should be fine. What about Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds? What is y'all's thoughts on those 2 guys this week?
Drake's been looking really good.
Drake's in, man.
Yeah.
Edmonds is still finds a way to score points, man. He's been pretty decent over the season as a whole. He's been able to put up some points. If you're desperate, I think you can roll out with him. It's just not a good matchup.
Yeah, I like how they get Chase Edmonds involved. They seem to get him involved in a scoring opportunity, which is nice. Doesn't get a lot of touches, but I think, again, he's still a flex option. Kenyon Drake, on the other hand, he got in the end zone last week against Seattle, but 11 for 29 against a not so great rushing defense isn't what you want to see. You're happy with the touchdown, but I am still a little bit worried about Kenyon Drake being up and down rest of season. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it shakes out.
They have a tough schedule.
Yeah. What about Christian Kirk? Any interest in Christian Kirk this week?
I don't know how I feel about him with this defense. I'm not super pumped up, but he's been putting up numbers too. I'd probably pivot. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I look for a more consistent option, someone a little bit safer. You do have, the
upside seems low.
Yeah. You have the touchdown upside of Christian Kirk, but I think his floor is almost nothing. Like, he can be just absolutely not targeted and come up with nothing. So it's a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, a lot of big play
Christian
reliability.
Kirk or Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon
100%.
Cooks.
Christian
1,000,000%.
Kirk or Keelan Cole.
Christian Kirk.
Hmm.
I'd rather have Kyler Murray throwing the ball than gluten-free over there. Let's move over to New England side of the ball. What's your interest level in Cam Newton against the Cardinals?
Just got a decent floor. Ceiling's been capped. Stefan, you played him last week. You're probably going to play him this week.
He had a big passing game, 365 through the air, just like I called for. Found the end zone through the air again. So added to his 3 touchdowns with 4, which is what you wanted, but didn't find the rushing touchdown, which is kind of what held him back. He still put up 19 points.
Yeah.
I think he's still in the streaming category for this week. We had the news about Rex Burkhead being out for the year. Where do you guys kind of put in Damian Harris and James White this week in terms of your confidence level?
Damian Harris has been solid. I'm confident.
I have Harris over White.
Yeah, White's gonna be the only person receiving in that backfield for the most part. Other news to note is that Sonny Michel was designated return from the IR. Don't know if he's going to play this weekend yet, but that could definitely eat into Damian Harris's role. But I think he deserves the role and the touches he's been getting. He's been doing well with them.
Yeah, I don't think I'm worrying too much about Sonny Michel returning. I think Damian Harris has earned his role in this offense, and Sonny Michel was pretty disappointing all season when he was healthy, except for the one game where he had the 100+ yards. But James White has been super disappointing for where you drafted him. His role has just been almost non-existent in this offense for the most part. But I think your confidence level has to be rising a little bit with Rex Burkhead out. I think he might find his way back into the flex consideration. I don't know if I'm ready to throw him in yet, but I think if I have James White on my roster, I have a little bit more confidence in him going forward. He's only owned in 34% of leagues. Is he someone that you're going out to grab to stash on your roster?
No.
No interest?
No, I mean, I think he could.
If you've got the spare room, I like if you're desperate, honestly, for running backs, maybe yours are all injured. Maybe you have Joe Mixon and Austin Eckler or something like that. And you could stash. I think you could stash if you've got the space.
Okay.
But I wouldn't go out of my way to do it. I wouldn't drop some usable piece.
Right.
Okay. Jacoby Myers came back down to earth. Cam Newton had the big day through the air, but Jacoby Myers only ended up at 3 for 38 on 3 targets. Instead, Demir Byrd was the guy, 6 for 132 and 1. Do you still consider Jacoby Myers as the main guy and Demir Byrd as kind of a second fiddle here?
Yeah, I can't make that switch call and off of one game here. I mean, Byrd looked awesome. We'll see how that consistency rolls out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Myers is the top option.
Yeah.
He ended up with 5.3, which isn't obviously not what you want, but better than a goose.
I think in this matchup, if you're in a push to maybe win a game to get into the playoffs, say you're not locked in with the playoffs yet, Demir Byrd could be one of those players that you pick up and could potentially start helping you win some games, depending on the usage there. So
yeah,
it could be worth a risk there.
It is worth noting that the touchdown to Demir Byrd last week was the first touchdown that Cam Newton has thrown to a New England receiver, which kind of limits both of these guys in terms of what their ceiling really looks like.
Right.
I think Jacoby Myers has a relatively safe floor that he's probably going to get a decent amount of yardage. But that touchdown upside really isn't there.
Yeah.
Let's move over to the next matchup, though. We have the Dolphins taking on the Jets. It was a weird situation with Miami. We expected Miami to be dominant last week. And instead, Tua was disappointing. He was benched. Didn't really have, he didn't look horrible. I mean, he wasn't getting it done in terms of yardage, but he didn't have any turnovers, anything like that. Just wasn't, moving the ball. So they went with Ryan Fitzpatrick to give him a better chance of winning. Still didn't pull it out. But they said Tua is the starter going into this week. Where are you guys at in terms of I mean, I don't think you're playing to it. I mean, this is against the Jets, but the possibility that he's benched in terms of Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think kind of puts a hold to that, right?
Yeah, I'm not really worried about him getting benched again, really. They did say he didn't seem like he could get comfortable out there. He did have a minor ankle issue that he was working through. But Brian Flores did come out and say, hey, no, that it was because he was playing really bad. And we were hoping Fitzy could give us a spark, just well, obviously we love Fitzy because he throws it down the field like a gunslinger and it's awesome. But that sometimes ends up in a pick and then you lose the game. Just like that's exactly what happened when he did that. But yeah, you're not starting Tua at all. I think Devontae Parker, man, he's still kind of getting it done. It doesn't feel that good. 6 for 61 and a touchdown. I mean, you'll take that most weeks. Mike Gesicki is another. He's still kind of rolling along. 4 catches, 43 yards. What do you guys think of Ahmed?
I mean, I think we know that this is Ahmed's backfield. Like we thought Matt Breida might eat into that, but
he did not.
Yeah, he was not involved at all. So I think you have faith in Ahmed. I thought this was the week that Gaskins was able to return, but maybe I'm wrong. He's eligible to return this week.
I think he's just too injured.
There's been no news about him actually being designated off the IR. So I think we have to expect that Ahmed is still the guy in this backfield. Are you guys playing Ahmed? Is he a flex? Where do you guys have Ahmed for right now?
I mean, this week is a good matchup. We saw him get the usage last week, receiving and the carries. Ashton, you in on him this week?
I think he's a solid flex play.
I think so too.
Okay. He's still playing Parker?
In this matchup, I think you can trust him.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel
good. I'm just
6 for 61 and a touchdown last week.
I know they said Tua's going to be their guy moving forward after this week, but I can't help to think how that shakes up a rookie quarterback. I mean, being benched because of your performance and then, Tua is a tough guy. I think he can come back from it mentally and perform better than he did
better.
before.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not that hard. Remember when he said that?
Yeah, I'm just right. And then since he said that, he's kind of struggled. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little pushed back on Miami right now, but sure, Parker's a viable streaming option for flex, I think, this week.
9 targets, 7 targets the last 3 weeks.
Yep. On the Jets side of the ball, we don't know who the starting quarterback will be at this point. The news is that Sam Darnold will be evaluated tomorrow to see what his status looks like for this week. But I think this really actually makes a difference in terms of Jamison Crowder versus Rashad Perryman. Joe Flacco has been finding Perryman as that long-term or down the field wide receiver, whereas it seemed like Sam Darnold would rather just give Jamison Crowder 1,000 targets and let him get it done himself. So I think depending on who the starter is kind of how you gauge those two. Would you guys agree?
I do.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't know. I had a little bit of faith in Rashad Perryman last week, but then he did exactly what he has to do to be successful. And he caught 2 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. The odds of that happening on the reg is just not there. But Sam Darnold totally favors Crowder, and it would be a definite upgrade for him if he comes back this week.
Yep. What about Frank Gore? Frank Gore had a relatively decent game, 15 for 61 and a touchdown. Is he a deep league flex?
Deep league, yes.
Very desperate.
Yeah,
I mean, Michael Pirine has been placed on the IR, so it should be all Frank Gore once again.
Yeah, I mean, he was 15 carries, 61 yards. Yeah, I just volume alone, I think you should stream him as a flex.
Yeah. I don't like it, but you can do it. He's 50 years old.
Fair enough. All right, let's move to the next one.
15 years younger than me.
The Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Atlanta Falcons. We'll start with the Raiders. For some reason, they play very well against Kansas City. Almost beat them once again. We talked about Derek Carr, not being able to perform against Kansas City this time around, and came out and had a good game as well, which is very confusing because he sucks against the terrible defenses, but it's good against the Chiefs. So that kind of frustrated me. Are you back? Do you play Derek Carr against a bad defense? We keep saying to play him against the bad ones, and he sucks.
Yeah, definitely
there,
start
baby.
Carr.
Roll
Stephanie,
out.
you won't start him again.
I'm not playing him.
Big mistake.
I'm off the bandwagon. I don't believe in Carr. Josh Jacobs, he gets it done. He's great. Play Josh Jacobs. What about these wide receivers? We talked about this Atlanta secondary
Just the one.
Terrible. Really? Even in this matchup, you only doing Aguilar?
Yep.
No interest in the other guys.
Who? Ruggs or Renfro?
Yep.
Ruggs? I'm so disappointed in Henry Ruggs. They hate him. They don't give him any.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead,
what
Ashton.
happened.
Ashton, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you would think that against the Chiefs that that seems to be one of better performing matchups this year, and he did nothing. Can he do more against the Falcons? I mean, the opportunity should definitely be there. I just don't know if it's going to be.
Yeah, it's got to be a desperation
for 5 yards
play at this point.
Yeah, I'm definitely more excited about Nelson Aguilar than.
Yeah,
Aguilar has been lighting it up. Outside of Aguilar and Waller, I don't really want anything right now.
Yeah, Darren Waller should feast this week. He should absolutely dominate. Full faith in Darren Waller, even though I don't have any in Derek Carr. For Atlanta, though, Julio Jones banged up once again.
Everything falls apart once that happens.
The hamstring issue just continues to pop up. We don't know what his status is yet going into this week. But I think this is going to make a ton of difference for kind of everybody if Julio plays. If Julio doesn't play, let's start there. What do you do with Matt Ryan? Do you play Matt Ryan if it's no Julio?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I would against this matchup. I mean, if Calvin Ridley's, still out there, Russell Gage is, I think when he has the opportunity, he looks pretty good. Who is the other wide receiver that they seem to look? Zacchaeus. Yeah. Dude, he gets a ton of looks when Ridley or Jones are out. So, yeah, I would still use Ryan.
Yeah, I'm just worried. It just seems like every time Jones is out of the lineup, the offense just doesn't look the same. He seems like
any sense.
He seems like the engine that makes everybody go. He makes Hayden Hurst better. He makes Russell Gage better. He makes Calvin Ridley even better, and Matt Ryan better. So I don't know. I think you have to take all of those guys a step down if Julio doesn't play. But if Julio plays, I think everybody's kind of a smash play this week. What about Todd Gurley, though? We said last week he was one of our sit of the weeks, and he was just that, 8 for 26, 3 points. Was unable to find the end zone, which has been where all of his points come from. Are you writing that game off and just plugging him right back in?
Yeah, I think you have to.
And the fact that Julio, man, we know that the offense just doesn't work, and Matt Ryan got sacked 8 times. I think it was not a pretty day for them, especially once. Julio just opens up that offense.
Yep.
But Gurley, Raiders defense isn't great, so might as well.
Let's move on to the next one. New Orleans Saints taking on the Denver Broncos. The other piece of news, which was on my list that was in the deleted doc, was that Taysom Hill has lost his tight end designation in ESPN platforms.
As he should.
He was great for the 1 week you got him. But do you guys...
Right, Jacob?
Are you considering playing Taysom Hill as a quarterback?
I think it's an option. I don't super love this matchup. I don't care what people say. I still fear the Broncos in Denver. They just play a little bit better up there. He does have the rushing floor, though. So, if you're desperado, you can do it.
I thought he looked pretty good.
I like the way he made Michael Thomas look.
I think he played
very
great.
surprising.
He
Yeah.
had 78% completions. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Against
great.
the Falcons, though. So we got to
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
that in mind.
it was a terrible secondary. But the one question mark we had about Taysom Hill is what could he do through the air? And for the limited, he had 23 attempts, 18 for 23. That's fantastic. He did
They were all 3-yard passes.
what every new quarterback should do. You throw it to your best receiver. He did that. He threw it to
Yep.
Michael Thomas a million times. And he threw it to Emmanuel Sanders down the field. One of them looked horrible. It was like 10 yards too short for him. But he
Yeah,
turned
that
around
was
and got it.
awesome.
He turned around and got it somehow. But I think you can play Taysom Hill. I think he's pretty safe with his rushing ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I like him as well in this matchup. I mean, I'm interested to see how he performs against the Broncos, who are gonna put the pressure on him. But yeah, I liked the connection he had with Michael Thomas. I liked his scrambling ability. He's a man of many talents.
Yep.
10 rushes, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. The one person that he did downgrade on the offense was Alvin Kamara. Like we know that Drew Brees loves to throw it to Alvin Kamara and make him a receiving option. I think this was the first game in Kamara's career that he didn't have a reception, which is where a lot of his value lies. We've seen that all year. He doesn't typically have a ton of rushing yards, still has a touchdown ability, and that's what kind of saved his day. He was 13 for 45, but he did find the end zone. Do you still just have full confidence that Alvin Kamara is too much of a playmaker to really move down too much, or do you have expectations that his ceiling isn't quite as high with Taysom Hill?
I mean, you can move him down all you want. You're not going to not start him, though.
Right. It's not a question of not starting him, but do you think that he's, lower down in terms of tier level now with Taysom Hill starting?
No, I think you kind of have to just look at that first game and just, I mean, I think they're going to limit Taysom's passing to a certain degree. His first matchup, I think they're just going to be cautious about it. I think they're going to expose it a little bit more against this matchup. I'd be shocked if they didn't get Alvin Kamara involved in the passing game this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to look at this game and say that they didn't get Kamara involved enough. Even though it was a winning effort, you just don't leave one of your best playmakers.
Yeah, you have to involve your best players in their best suitable position. I mean, that's Kamara's bread and butter is in the passing game. You got to use them.
Yep. Anybody except for Michael Thomas that you're interested as a receiver? Emmanuel Sanders, are you interested in Jared Cook?
Maybe really. Cook against this matchup, but yeah, he's not on the top of my list here.
Yep. Full confidence back in Michael Thomas now? Do you believe he's back?
More confidence. Yes, I don't know if it's full confidence.
Trade finally came through.
back on board. All right, let's move over to the Broncos side of the ball. We've seen this defense for New Orleans has just been on fire. They've been fantastic these last few weeks. Is there anybody on Denver that you're starting? I mean, Melvin Gordon had a great game when everybody was benching him, 15 for 84 and 2, had the chance to score another one, and apparently fumbled on like the 1-inch line.
Yeah, he did.
And then Phillip Lindsay looked great too. I mean, he didn't find the end zone, but 16 for 82. So what do we do with these? I mean, this is the question every week when we get to this matchup. Do you have faith in either one of them?
I have no clue about what to do. I mean, if I would say in this matchup, yeah, they're going to lean more towards Gordon. I'm not excited about it because Gordon has a tendency to disappoint, like he has a lot of this season. So,
but clearly he's got the touchdown upside.
Right.
He almost had 3. He got the 2.
Plus.
Yeah.
So I'd lean Gordon and Lindsay. Not a great matchup. It's not a great matchup.
I think personally, I'm out on everybody on Denver this week against New Orleans. They're already a shaky group and good matchup. So with one of the toughest, I think I'm benching these guys.
Start Noah Fant
for other matchups.
Tight end world.
I would possibly consider streaming Tim Patrick as a flex.
As an option. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the next matchup. We got 4 more to go through here, guys.
We're doing it.
49ers v. LA Rams. We'll start with San Francisco. Still no Jimmy G. We should see another week of Nick Mullins. What the possibility here is that Raheem Mostert returns from the IR this week. ESPN is projecting him points currently, so they're giving him the greater possibility to play than not to play. But even if he doesn't play, Jerick McKinnon and Tevin Coleman both have a questionable designation as of right now. So we really don't know what this backfield is going to look like this week. Let's assume Raheem Mostert is designated off the IR and is a play. This is another tough matchup against his Rams defense, who's looked great. You plug in Mostert right back into your lineup if he's healthy this week?
Yes, I think so. The Rams defense doesn't make you feel that good, but I think once Shanahan has his running backs, once he has Mostert back, I think he's going to start mixing it up again, and that it's going to look a little bit better. But still, the Rams defense is tough. But I'd start him. Are you going to start him? I know you have him.
I am going to start him. I mean, the games he's played this year, he's been fantastic. He's played the Rams once already and exited the game at the end of the game. But before that, he was 17 for 65, 2 catches for 11 yards. Was having a good game. So I think you have to plug him in there. He should be back to the RB2 status with good upside. So I think he's going to be the only part of this offense that can really get it going. Debo's questionable. Brandon Ayuk's coming off the COVID list.
Is he coming off? Because they put him back on.
Okay, yeah, I think it's still uncertain whether or not he'll play. But what do you do with those two guys? What do you do with Debo and Brandon Ayuk? Say they both play. What do you do with them too?
This matchup sucks. I don't like it, but they're not traditional wide receivers.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I would lean towards more Ayuk in this matchup than Debo.
Ayuk's looks fantastic these last couple of times we've seen him. And like you said, they are non-traditional wide receivers. They're not down the field guys like most receivers. They get involved as rushers. They're both short yardage guys who can make plays after the catch, which I think gives you the possibility that they'll be okay. Usually this matchup's scary because Jalen Ramsey just shuts down typical wide receivers. But this matchup, I think Brandon Ayuk should be fine to start as a wide receiver too, and Debo has that flexibility. Okay, I think the last guy at San Francisco, Jordan Reed, is he someone that you're considering streaming as a tight end?
Jordan Reed?
Yep.
Yeah, especially if none of these people can come out there and play.
He might be the only option.
He might be the only one.
Yeah.
Him and Richie James gonna be holding it down.
Oh yeah. What do you do with Richie James if there's no Ayuk and Debo?
There's no Ayuk and Debo. I mean, he's probably gonna get Ramsey, so I wouldn't really care for it. I think Jordan Reed's gonna be I don't know. It doesn't feel good either way. This is just a tough matchup. We just saw what they did to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean they played really well against the Buccaneers. I mean, the coverage that they had on every receiver was just super tight. Yeah, I'd be concerned playing any pass catcher for San Francisco.
Fair enough. Let's move over to the LA side. I think this Tampa Bay defense has been rather disappointing these last couple of weeks. They were really stout to start the year, but have had some tough matchups where they haven't been quite as great. So we saw Jared Goff have a great game against them. We saw these receivers be able to perform well against them. This is another tough matchup with San Francisco. Is Jared Goff in the streaming category this week for San Francisco?
No.
At home in LA?
I don't think so. Not for me.
No.
I think he is. I think.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think you can play him. I mean, I don't feel any
in
better
this defense.
I don't feel any better about him than some of these other streaming guys. But if you're in a pinch, I mean, you could do worse.
Jared Goff or Cam Newton?
Cam Newton's safer.
Jared Goff or Taysom Hill?
I like Taysom Hill. I mean, Taysom Hill has a lot more upside than Goff with his legs.
Cam or Taysom?
I guess closer, but Taysom, I think.
There you go.
All right, let's talk about some of these other guys here. Cam Akers had his first career touchdown. Wasn't very efficient, 5-15, 1 catch, 4 yards, and touchdown. Darrell Henderson was non-existent. in the run game. Malcolm Brown, non-existent in the run game. The whole running
It
ability
wasn't really there,
was terrible.
except for the touchdown.
Yeah, we talk about this Tampa Bay rush defense has been locked down, so maybe that's the reason. Are you interested in starting any of those guys this week?
Not really.
No.
Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods were on fire against
Yeah, they
Tampa Bay. They both were just feasting. Cooper Kupp was having a great day. I think he started the first drive
100 yards
with 5
in
receptions.
the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. But was 11 for 145 with no touchdowns, while Robert Woods was 12 for 130 and a touchdown. Are you back full on board, full confidence, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, they're definitely going in the right direction now. I think Cooper has a bigger game this week against 49ers than Woods, but I think they both find the end zone.
Fair enough. Jacob?
Could you ask that again? Sorry.
You have faith in Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp in this matchup?
Yes. Yep.
100%. Okay. No tight end still? We're not on the Higbee or Everett bus at this point?
Oh man, they both had 4 receptions, one for 27 yards, the other for 19 yards. One of them's bound to catch a touchdown. You'd think, but I'm not confident in either one. It's too hard to guess.
Okay. Moving to the next matchup, Kansas City taking on Tampa Bay. This isn't looking great for Tampa Bay these last couple of weeks. They've been taking on some tough opponents: New Orleans, LA, now Kansas City. Do you expect this drought to turn around against Kansas City? What are your expectations for Tom Brady?
I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game.
Ooh,
What?
Bold take.
I don't believe that.
Hot take.
How bad?
It's going to be close.
They're going to pull it out, huh?
They're going to pull it out. It'll be 3 points. Field goal. That's all it's going to be. The Buccaneers really they need to win really bad. I don't know if they actually will. It's just I think Tom Brady's gonna. Gosh, this is another tough loss. He did not look good. They had pressure on him all game long. I don't think the Chiefs' front seven is quite as tough as Aaron Donald all by himself. But. Oh, I don't know. I think you can. How do you guys feel about Ronald Jones this week? I think you can start him.
Yeah, I think they're going to lean Rojo more this week than Fournette. Fournette did not look good.
Fournette looked horrible.
Yeah,
he shouldn't play
a
for
million
a while.
Catches. He got lucky and found the end zone, but dude, he was terrible. The fact that he was out there so much was confusing.
After what Bruce Arians has done to Ronald Jones his whole life, the poor guy.
Yeah. I'm not starting Tom Brady in this matchup. You can do what you want, but I think we've learned at this point that Tom Brady just doesn't do well in tough matchups this year. New Orleans, LA, like the primetime matchups, he just doesn't perform. And I don't think that I'm giving him any confidence in this matchup. Are you?
With what I just saw Derek Carr do to the Chiefs,
but Derek Carr has like some sort of antidote towards the Chiefs.
Yeah, but Derek Carr is still Derek Carr, and Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. I don't think I wouldn't be completely opposed to starting him.
Did y'all see all the memes pop out of Derek Carr when he was caught on TV?
Yeah.
Like,
where's my eyeliner?
Dead state. God, dude. So
that was
good.
pretty silly.
Internet wins.
Where are you guys at with these wide receivers? Mike Evans had a very Mike Evans day, 49 yards and a touchdown. Chris Godwin as well found the end zone. Antonio Brown had some targets, didn't find the end zone, but still 8 for 57. Do you kind of consider them all to be, around that 10-point mark?
Yeah, that's
Roughly,
pretty much
yeah,
what it's going to be.
No, none of them have, fantastic ceilings, really. They're kind of all limited by each other.
Antonio Brown had a big bomb that he dropped. He couldn't hold on to.
Step behind, man.
Dude, that would have been a huge play for Tampa. And
he also had a bomb that he was wide open that Brady just completely missed him. He was just off.
Yeah,
he had pressure in his face, and he kind of pulled it just a little bit. It was a little outbounds.
It's kind of unfortunate because this is a contending team for playoffs and, potentially a Super Bowl run. And there's so much talent on the field, but the chemistry, you can tell it's just not there yet. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future, but there's so much individual talent. They just need to get it together as a team.
Any interest in Gronk this week?
I thought he would have a big game last week. He got some looks, but just another tight covered, receiver, and had some missed opportunities. But yeah, I think you could still start him against the Chiefs.
It's just tight ends, dude. I mean, hell, throw him out there.
I think I'm off the Gronk.
You were never on.
Right, and I've been right every time I told you to sit him.
No, you weren't right every time.
Every time Tom Brady sucks, Gronk sucks. Therefore, sit Gronk because Tom Brady's going to suck.
I just told you he's not, though. Because remember what I said about Derek Carr?
I told you that Tom Brady's my sit of the week last week, and he should have been. So, therefore, next matchup, Chicago taking on Green Bay. Sunday night game, primetime matchup, division rivals. Start with the Bears. Another situation, we don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. Nick Foles was banged up. Apparently, Mitch Trubisky is still banged up. So we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't know if that makes a difference to you guys.
Back up to the backup.
Same thing with David Montgomery. He's banged up. Is there anybody let's talk about who do you want to start on the Chicago side? Allen Robinson?
That's basically it. And I'm not excited about it.
If Montgomery plays, this is a great matchup. The Green Bay gives up a lot of points to the running back position. If he plays, are you interested in David Montgomery?
Possibly, because you don't know who's going to be passing the ball.
Right, exactly. So you don't know what kind of situations you'll be in, but I still think he'll put up a safe 8 points. I don't think he's going to go crazy because he just doesn't do that.
Jimmy Graham, revenge game? Touchdown?
No. Depending on the QB, but no.
All right, Packers side of the ball. Aaron Rodgers, still a smash, tough matchup.
Yeah, you're still playing.
Sweetest pumpkin pie?
Yeah, you can play him. I'll let you.
You can play him. Okay, give me a break.
What do you think he's going to do this week against the Bears?
He's going to do a lot better than freaking Tom Brady against the Chiefs.
No way.
You keep making the bet about Aaron Rodgers to me, and you keep losing every time. It's 2 weeks
I've only lost 2 bets in
a row on Aaron Rodgers.
Do it.
That was the other part of our bet that we didn't talk about in the doc, but Jacob lost his top 12 Aaron Rodgers bet last week, and I don't know if he wants to make that mistake again. Aaron Rodgers is going to be great. Aaron Jones, you're playing him. Devontae Adams, you're playing him. I think people should drop MVS from their fantasy lineups after what he just did, ruining their hopes. Aaron Rodgers will never trust MVS again.
They had his back, man, okay?
Aaron Rodgers didn't – I mean, at post-game interview, he wasn't normally he's, has no problem calling out his receivers for big mistakes, but he basically said, hey, it kind of happens sometimes.
I think he's used to MVS disappointing him at this point. So he's like, anybody that
votes. I mean, I threw it to him.
Alan Lazard was disappointing in his return. What are your expectations for him in this matchup?
Still going to be disappointing, probably.
Okay. Robert Tonyan found the end zone.
The onion.
Robert Tonyan found the end zone. Any interest back on Tonyan?
No, not in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you can play him.
Tonyan or Gronk?
Tonyan.
Wow, the Gronk man himself went off of him. But you like Tonyan
against the Bears defense. You're a wild man.
All right. Anybody else you guys want to talk about in this matchup?
No.
Okay.
Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yeah, you play them. Monday night matchup, last game of week 12. The Seattle Seahawks taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start with the Eagles side of the ball because I just want to announce that Carson Wentz is possibly the worst starting quarterback in the league right now. He is a terrible quarterback this year. I haven't seen Nick Foles is almost more exciting to play than Carson Wentz. You expect him to be.
He's got the yips, man. He does not know what he is doing right now.
Horrible, absolutely abysmal to watch. I mean, he just throws the ball up in the air. He makes so many mistakes. It's ridiculous. This should be a fantastic matchup for him, but there's no way you're playing Carson Wentz, even against the Seahawks.
Taysom Hill over Carson Wentz.
1,000%.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
That's how bad it's gotten.
No, I mean,
Jake Gluten over.
no, I'm not going that far. I'm not going that far down the list. But no, I do not. Carson Wentz is probably going to be projected a ton of points against this great matchup, but there's no way you play Carson Wentz.
Nope.
What about the other options for Philly? Are you interested in Miles Sanders? He's been not quite living up to the hope, but it's still Miles Sanders. I mean,
Yeah, he had a rain game last week, and he still put up a decent. I'm all in. I'm still all in on Sanders. No worries with that.
Okay. What about the receiving options here? Travis Fulgham has disappeared from the earth, has had the same thing in both games, 1 for 8 in the last 2 games.
Well, I don't necessarily put that on him, but
He's had 5 targets.
Carson Wentz is still there.
He's still the quarterback.
just saying it's not his fault. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Well,
he's got to
Jalen
catch the
Reagor-
passes, dude.
Jalen Reagor and the tight ends are still be able to get something done. So you look at that a little bit, but you also know that Carson Wentz is still there and he's hot garbage right now. So I don't think you can. I don't know. The Seattle defense has looked a little bit better, not a lot better, just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
They held DeAndre Hopkins in check, but obviously a broken shoulder from Kyler Murray. I'm out on Fulgham for now.
Yeah. I think
wouldn't
Dallas
drop him,
Goedert
but
and Miles Sanders are the 2 guys that I think you can have confidence in. Are you still playing Fulgham, Ashton?
I thought the Seahawks looked a lot better defensively this week than they did previously. I mean, if they can keep that momentum on the defensive side of the ball, then no, I'm not going to start Fulgham. But I mean, it is the Eagles. It is the Seahawks. I could see it flipping back. Fulgham could potentially be useful in this matchup. It all depends on if Carson Wentz can just get his act together. But I can't rely on that, so I'm probably not going to start him.
Just say no.
Fair enough.
I just want to justify my answer
Say it.
here. All right, no, I'm not going to start. Fulgham.
Okay, good job. All right, let's move over to Seattle. Russell Wilson, great play. Chris Carson, finally some good news. He was a full participant in practice Tuesday. He hasn't played since week 7. I think this is the first sign of hope that Chris Carson plays. But again, no 100% guarantee. If Chris Carson does play, you plug him right back into your lineup.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play, you plug in Carlos Hyde right back into your lineup.
Yep.
Yep.
Take the starting running back. There you go. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Any worry about those 2 guys?
Nope.
No.
Fair enough.
Worried about Greg Olsen though.
Greg Olsen has been placed on the IR and will probably miss the rest of the season. So
Will Disley, is he about to make the big comeback
Maybe Will
that we've
Disley
all been
makes
waiting
comeback.
for?
What about DJ Dallas?
No.
if Chris Carson or Carlos Hyde play, DJ Dallas
He gone.
is no longer any of my concern.
All right.
That does it, guys. Is there anything else you guys want to add to the Thanksgiving show, this jam-packed show?
Get your cool whip.
I will say this. I am so thankful for all these listeners. If someone makes it this far into this episode, I will literally send you a $10 Starbucks gift card. Just shoot me a message. I will send it to
Message our
What-
Instagram
how
page.
you gonna prove that they listen to the show?
No, you have to message our
Yeah,
Instagram
how are they gonna get to this
page
point?
and say that I made it to this point. If you do,
Who's going to
Thank you,
hop in and say, oh, you know what? Let me go on down to the hour 45
I
mark.
guarantee people fast forward.
well, let's see what happens. All right, guys. Well, that does it. Everybody have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Looking forward to it. We will see you guys next week. Until then, make sure to check us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you have any lineup questions, send us all your messages. We'll help you out there. And check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. See you guys next week.
Jacob,
ya.
if I listen, do I
No,
go to Starbucks?
No. I know you guys don't listen.
Okay.